Hi, everyone. I don't know if you are seeing us. I hope yes. I am Ines from allWomen. Here we have Silvia from SheTech and also Idoia. We will start in 3 minutes, really. We will wait to others to connect. Thanks. If you are hidden, yeah, Francesca's.
Okay, cool.
It's good to see because we can see you, but we can read it. And also there is a button, I think, in your screen to do question later. Yeah. I think in this time, if you want to do some networking and you want to share your LinkedIn, because sometimes missing the real life, the real networking event. In the past, we make friends or even contact, etc. In case you want to do some networking and share your LinkedIn, feel free to do it. Yes, I will pass mine.
Mine too, if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, because probably someone don't know SheTech or me. Then I share also my LinkedIn.
I already have you, Francesca, in my LinkedIn. I have some of them in my LinkedIn already.
Ines, you can see me now.
Perfectly.
Okay.
Perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you will be introducing a little in Italian the SheTech organization.
Exactly.
Only to let you know, the agenda is like we will give you a little introduction of SheTech, then I will be 5 minutes, 1 minute about allWomen, and then we will go to the masterclass that is the important thing now.
Perfect. We can just wait some minutes because Italian people generally close
I know,
like Spanish.
I have that
last email.
I have that 10 in my body. Even if I am Argentinian, really. So it's 45 already. Very good.
Yeah, we have 170 subscribers. So yeah, but I generally, the drop down is
it's normal. Yeah,
it's normal. Yeah. Good.
So when you think we can, I
know.
Yeah, I think it's the right moment to start.
Yeah,
but you can.
I lost
can you,
your
okay.
image.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you too. Me too.
Now,
okay.
Perfect.
Now you can. Okay, perfect. I start in Italian just to make a brief introduction, and then I introduce you, Ines. Ciao a tutti e a tutte, benvenuti e benvenute a questa primissima lezione e masterclass su data science organizzata insieme a allWomen, che ovviamente vi lascerò presentare da Ines. Giusto due parole su SciTech. Allora, intanto io sono Silvia e sono community manager di SciTech. Per chi non conoscesse SciTech è un'associazione no profit che ha come obiettivo quello di colmare il gender gap nel mondo della tecnologia, del digitale e dell'imprenditoria. Lo facciamo attraverso eventi di networking, di empowerment e di formazione. Formazione lato digital skills, soft skills e anche tech skills, come in questo caso come questa sera. Prima di switchare in inglese, come ben sapete, lasciare e iniziare questa masterclass, per qualsiasi curiosità rispetto a SciTech, come entrare nella community, le nostre attività, vi lascerò qui sia il nostro sito che poi potete ovviamente contattarmi. Ho lasciato anche il mio LinkedIn, potete contattare direttamente per qualsiasi informazione. Now I switch in English just to introduce you Ines. Ines, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I leave you the stage to present allWomen and then to Idoia for our lesson.
Okay. Thank you very much, Silvia. I understand a little. So I want to present allWomen. allWomen is an academy, a tech academy. We give course of UX, data science, product management, content design, that is a new course, UX writing, and web development, that is a new course. We have our student here in Barcelona, but really with the COVID, we have now a lot of students from London, from Portugal, from Ireland, and even our teacher. We have teacher in Ireland, in Copenhagen, in different cities that we want to grow our community as women in tech. We also work a lot in career development, because we know that a lot of women want to change career or even upskilling, but even upskilling is something that they need to work in career development, new role, new thing that they need to achieve and have. So we work in mentoring, not only give the course, you know. Today, the idea is to have a masterclass of data science, because data science is a new area for some of us. Data will be in every industry in the future, in everywhere, you know. I think in 10 years, Python will be the Excel of today. So it's good that we can learn these type of things now and be the ones, the companies now as SciTech, we are in the same objective, you know, to bring more women in the tech field, because the tech field will be really impacting our life in the future, and now are impacting, but in the future even more. So we need to be there in the decision, even if we are not, I don't know, we don't have all the knowledge to do the algorithm, at least have some representation, auditing the algorithm that will be, I don't know, deciding security, social security, a lot of things in the future. So that is why we think this type of thing are very important. So I will introduce Idoia. She's our data science lead. And she's also the teacher of the immersive program that we have of data science. And she will be doing a master class for you to start seeing a little about data science, a taste, as the event, the name of the event. Yeah, Idoia, thank you very much.
Thank you all for everything, let's say. So welcome everybody, and thanks for joining this masterclass. As Ines and Celia were indicating, it will be like a small degustation and a small taste. So I encourage you to ask as many questions as you have. English is not only my mother tongue language, let's say. So even if, I encourage you to ask questions, even if it's in Italian or in Spanish or whatever, we can translate. So feel free to ask as many questions as you want, okay? So I'm going to start sharing my screen with the piece of code that I've prepared prepared for like this masterclass. So the idea is not for you to understand fully 100% of the code, let's say, because it's impossible in 1 hour. But what I want to transfer is, well, the idea that it's behind data science and data analytics, and, well, the importance of the tools that we have available, which are like basically Python, in order to extract like meaningful information. Okay, so to do so, what I did is I created like a really small example with storytelling, in which basically what I was doing is I was extracting some like information from Spotify, from the database that Spotify has. It's legal, not illegal, I would say, from the top hits, top 70 something hits in Italy. Okay, so I will need your help because I'm not Italian and I'm not really familiar with Italian songs. I will need your help and your collaboration to see whether everything like makes sense and so on, and to guide me through the different like artists and so on. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. Can you see my screen? I won't be able to see the chat because I will be like having a look at the code and so on. So if you,
I will. Don't worry. I will.
If somebody has questions and so on, so feel free to go on. Okay. So basically, what we are going to do, we are going to work well in order to analyze the data. Of course, there are a lot of different, let's say, sources, no, such as Excel. No, Excel is like the typical one that. I would say 90% of the people are like familiar with Excel, okay? So Excel is really powerful, and of course you can create powerful plots and do a lot of interesting things and so on. But the point is that I don't know if any of you have like experienced that feel that sometimes when you have a really big file, sometimes Excel tends to be kind of tedious and tends to be really slow, and maybe sometimes it crashes and so on, no? So one of the like strategies, or one of the things that you can do in order to avoid or to try to avoid these things is to use, well, either Python or any programming language, okay? In that specific case, we are going to use like Python. Advantages of Python, for instance, versus Excel, I would tell you the advantages and disadvantages. So the disadvantages, of course, is a programming language, so you need to know how to code, but it's not that complicated once you get the logic. Excel is more intuitive because it has an interface and it's like file, load, blah, blah, blah. So it has a lot of interface. But in terms of advantages of Python versus Excel, Python is for free. All the different libraries and you have a lot of more capabilities than Excel. And all the different things and all the different libraries and modules that people like have created, they are like aimed to analyze the data, so they contain a lot of features. And also Excel is not for free, you know what I mean? So I would say in companies you have to pay, if you want to use Excel for like business purposes, you have to use, let's say, you have to pay like a small amount, no, for each of the license. And Python is for free. So inside Python is a programming language, no? And maybe you might think that programming language is something like that, no? The typical black screen in which like it reminds us like Matrix, no, the movie or something like that. But luckily for us, well, some intelligent people, they built some kind of like interfaces that allow us to like program with Python, but in a more like didactic way and in a more friendly way, no? One of these programs, let's say, of user interfaces is Jupyter, okay? The point is that Jupyter is, well, one interface that allows us to program with Python, but in a more really nice way, okay? So this is how Jupyter looks like, and this is my piece of code that I've created for this masterclass. So this is basically what we are going to see. First of all, I'm going to introduce you a little bit what's like data science, or what's like the data scientific method for the ones that maybe are not that familiar with data science. And on a second stage, we're going to like dive into the study case, no? Which is the analysis of the different hits, okay? So linked to the data science method, this is a general schema of how like this any data science method should like follow, let's say. So first of all, on a first step, we must like identify which is the business case, or which is the problem that we want to explain, or why do we need to take these data-driven decisions for the project or for planning and strategy or whatever. Once we've managed to identify the problem, on a second stage, what is more important is to understand the data. So once we have the data and all the different variables and all the different files that we might be interested in working with, what we need to do is fully understand everything, because if we don't understand what do all the variables and features mean like, it will be impossible to go ahead and proceed. No? So we must spend a lot of time, let's say, in understanding each of the variables, the ones that it makes sense, etc. Once we've managed to understand our data and our different files and so on, we need to process. What do I mean by process? Cleaning the data. Why? Because most of the data comes not really clean, let's say. So sometimes what you are getting is a lot of missing information in some of the columns, some misspelling mistakes, no? Such as, I don't know, if you are doing a survey and so on, maybe it could be Spain with capital letter and Spain with lowercase, and those two items for Python, let's say, or for a programming language, there are different things. So that means that you have to clean everything. Once you've managed to clean everything and get your data super clean and you fully understand the data, it's time to, let's say, analyze the data. So get some insights from the data. So ask a lot of questions to the data and try to get those answers by coding and also including or using also powerful graphs, no? Because that's one of the essence, no? It's not the same if I'm explaining something to one colleague of mine that comes from a technical background, rather than if I'm explaining this insight that I want to get to somebody that maybe comes from a business perspective, that it's not that familiar, let's say, with the code, no, or with the technical words. So that's another essential process that we have to do, analyze the data and create these plots. Once we've managed to create these plots and analyze the data, it's time to extract some conclusions, as in any project that we can see, no, even in our daily lives or in our personal and professional lives. So once we've managed to create these conclusions, it's time to communicate these conclusions to our manager or our client or whoever we might be interested. The point is that once we get this, once we communicate or we give these outcomes, sometimes we might get some feedback, no? So that means that maybe that feedback, well, with that feedback, what we need to do is go back to the very beginning and start over again. So it's not a process that is stuck and so on, no? It's a process that iteratively you are improving and you are also optimizing all over the period of time that you are expending, okay? So this is how any data science project, let's say, works, okay? So let's...
Yeah. Can I interrupt?
Yes, of course.
No, and something that I have calls with prospective students, and that you mentioned is very important, because sometimes they say, okay, I will transform in data science, and she was expert in coffee or whatever, no? It's you will be using these things to something that you already know, maybe, no? You can convert in a data science. For example, you, Idoia, you're a chemistry, and you will be understanding the data more than anyone that maybe come from business, etc. Understand the info is very important. So maybe you are not the best programmer ever,
Absolutely.
but you know very well the business, the industry, the data that you are treating. For me, data of chemistry, if I am the best data scientist in the world, will be impossible to handle maybe. But think about this is not sometimes it's a reconversion of your career, but also can be something that you can mix with your background.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And that's one of the more really interesting things that I've seen being an instructor at allWomen, that most of the girls are not coming from a technical background, and well, it's super nice to see the business. So some of them, or I would say most of them, are coming from business approach or administration or whatever, and it's pretty cool to see that their mindset and to see how they are applying their soft skills or their hard skills, so the things that they've learned during the past or on the previous careers, let's say, and how everything merged with this data science and so on. And I mean, to become a data scientist, okay, you have to code and so on, but you can be also a manager, you know what I mean? If you understand the process and you understand the timings and so on, okay? Yes, but that's a good point, Ines, yes. Thanks. So once we've managed to understand, let's say, a little bit this process, let's go directly to the business case, okay? So basically, as I don't know if you can see, but can you see that we have some kind of headers, no? So 2.2, 3.2, these are called markdown. So they are text that I can add and I can include in my piece of code in order to get like some info, no text as it is. But can you see that in that case, what I can see, can you see that I have like information or the letters are a little bit different? That's the code that I'm using. So this is a script. This is Python per se. Okay. The first thing that we must always do when like loading or when dealing with any data set or any information, it's to import all the different libraries. Okay, what do I mean by libraries? So libraries, they contain different functions that I can use, let's say later on, for like the analysis. For instance, one function, it could be calculate the mean or calculate the maximum value of a specific column, etc. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is, well, execute that cell, okay? Once I've managed to import all the different libraries, what I have to do is read my file, okay? So my file is one CSV file that stands for comma separated values, okay? This is the file that I'm going to use. So let me share how it looks like just to see. So it could be an Excel file, it could be a CSV file, or it could be a PDF or whatever you need, okay? So this is my file. So basically, this is how it looks like. If I'm open it, you will see that, well, this is the information that I have, okay? So I have name, album, artist, gender. This contains, like on a first stage, on the first row, the different like column names that I have, and I have from in each of the different rows. Can you see that I have like a number? So each of the numbers, can you see that I have different items separated by comma? So that means that on the first position, what I have is something, then I have a specific value that it's linked to the name. Then what I have is something in between commas that is linked to the second column, that it's the album in that specific case, and this is what it's called a data set. So basically, data set, it contains a lot of different rows, that in that case, it will be different songs, and for each of the rows, I will have different features on different information, such as the name, the album, the artist, the gender, country, continent, etc. And that's what I'm going to do. So rather than get that info and open everything in an Excel file, I'm going to import everything in my Jupyter notebook, in my Python code, okay? So if I'm executing that cell and saving everything in a variable that is called data, and I'm looking at that data, that's the outcome that I'm getting. Can you see that we have exactly the same information as we have here, but in that case, we have it sorted in a different way. So what do we have? First of all, in bold, okay? So for this specific case, I have, for instance, the name, the album, the artist, the gender, country, etc. And then what I have, like a lot of different number that it's called the index, that it goes from 0 up to 73, that it contains, well, each of the songs that I've managed to like scrap or get from the database that I can see in, how is it called? In my data set, okay? And everything right now, can you see that it's kind of sorted in a like nice way, no? So having a look at this specific information, what I have is, well, that amount of like songs that I have, okay? So first of all, one thing that we can see, can you see that we have a lot of things, and can we see that we have like some kind of 3 dots there that indicates that, well, there is like something else. So one thing that we can do is like, okay, which are like the names that I have in all the variables that I have on all the features. So if I'm executing that cell as an outcome, what I'm getting is name, album, artist. So those are the different variables that I have for each of the songs that I've managed to scrap from Spotify. So I have information linked to name, album, artist, gender, country, the continent in which each of the different artists come from, and some information linked to each of the different songs, such as danceability, energy, key, speechness, tempo, the duration in milliseconds. So I have not only information linked to the text per se, but also intrinsic information from the different songs, okay? So linked to that, once we manage to know specifically the different columns that we have, is like, okay, the second question that all data scientists ask is, which are the types of variables that I have, okay? What do I mean by type of variables? Because it's not the same to have one variable that it contains numbers on it, rather than one variable that it contains text, no? Such as the name of the song or the artist. Why? Because if I want to calculate some metrics, for instance, if I want to calculate the mean, no? Or the average. I can calculate this average in one numerical variable, such as the one that contains duration in milliseconds. But can I calculate a mean from one variable that it contains the name of the songs? Not right. So that's the first thing that you have to do: split or decide or have a look at the different columns that you have and try to see which are the ones that are numerical or categorical, because the analysis that you are going to do later on, it depends also on these type of variables. Okay. So how can we extract that information? By executing that code that basically what it contains, it gives us is as an output, it gives us a table that it contains all the different names of the column. Can you see that we have name, album, artist, gender, blah, blah, blah. And we have a new column on the right side that it contains object, float, int, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So object stands for categorical variables. So categorical variable means the variables that contain text, whereas float and int stand for numerical variables. Which is the difference between float and int? Int stands for integer, so variables that they contain just integers in it, such as one example, it could be age. No, I am 30 years old, I'm not 30 point something years old. And float, it contains decimals. So in decimals, it could be, for instance, the height. No, so I measure 170 something or 160 something. Okay, so this is the first thing that you have to do. Okay, so let's have a look at, for instance, one variable that it's a categorical variable, such as that one, no, the one that it's the name of the song. So if we are executing that cell and we are extracting that information, that's what we can see. Can you see that we have text on it? So we have Guaraná, good times, le feste di palo, cuando, blah, blah, blah. So it contains info. What if I'm extracting the same info, but in that case with one variable that I've saw that it contains it's an integer, so it contains numbers on it. So let's have a look at these durations in milliseconds. Can you see that in that case we have some numbers? Okay, so this is the main difference that we can see between both type of variables. Okay, so second question that we must ask to our data set is okay, do we have missing information? Okay, because sometimes we might get that we have some missing information, and well, if we have missing information on most of the columns or in some columns, well, it's the first thing that you have to do. So deal with that missing information. Okay, so to do so, what we have to do is execute that cell that it's going to give us as an outcome that information. So it's going to give us all the different variables that I have on my data frame together with some numbers that are linked to the total number of missing values that I have in my column. Okay, so having a look at this outcome, what can we see that we have tempo and liveness that have 74 missing values. So that means that we don't have information from these specific columns. Whereas if we have a look at the rest of the variables, we can see that it's 0. So that means that all the information is complete, let's say, in all the variables. Okay, so how we can deal with missing information and so on. There are a lot of strategies. So you can replace that missing information by some statistics. You can decide to drop them. So depending on the business case and depending on the type of project that we are dealing, what we have to do is either choose one strategy or another one. But for this specific masterclass, what I've decided to do in order not to extend so much the explanation is to drop them. Okay, so they contain a lot of missing information, so I'm going to get rid of them because they are not adding, let's say, any meaning. Okay, so to do so, what I'm going to do is use, well, this statement, which is, well, one method that is called drop, including, well, both the liveness and tempo variables. Okay, so this will be some kind of the data cleaning, no? So the first step that it's okay, how many variables do I have and which are the types of variables that I have? Do I have missing information? So we can move further on a next step, which will be, well, let's meet the data. Let's ask some questions to our data set. Okay, so the first question that we might think about it is how many hits do we have, no, in our data set? How many different songs do we have? So to do so, what we are going to do is, well, use that piece of code that it's going to give us the shape that my data set has. What do I mean by the shape? the shape, it contains as an output this statement. So first of all, it contains in between parentheses, first of all, the total number of rows that I have. So that means that these rows are linked to the songs. And after the comma, we have another number that it contains, the total number of variables that we have. So that means that we have 74 songs from Italy in 2020, and we have 20 variables. Okay, so when we have like 20 variables containing information from each of the songs. Okay, we can like have a look at the information as it is. This is like the techie way, but we can also create like some more like nicer ways of showing the information, in which basically what you are doing as an outcome is getting something nicer, no? So basically what you're doing is automatically extracting, the numbers from this outcome and put it inside a sentence, okay? So in that case, when we are executing that code, it's telling us that the dataset has 74 hits and 20 variables, okay? So this is the first thing that we can like assume, okay? So second question that we might ask, okay? So when was each hit created, okay? So I don't know if you remember, but if we were having a look at the columns, so let me execute it again. So there was one column that it was called the release date. So we can like have a look at this specific variable and see, how does it look like, no? So if we are executing that cell in order to extract, let's say, the top 22 songs that we have, release dates that we have in our data frame, it's the outcome that we are getting. That for song 0, it was like released on the 12th of May or 2020. Same for the second song and so on. Okay, so this is the information that we are getting. But the point is that, can you see that, for instance, if we are like having a look at these dates, it contains years, months, and days. But maybe if we want to visualize something, it's not like worth to have a look specifically at all the individual days that we have, because maybe we want to group them in function of the year, month added, or something like that. So one capability that like these structures, so that they are called like data frames, have, is that we can create new variables. So with this specific information, we can extract the year in which the year. So we can extract specifically that year. We can extract also the month, and we can also extract the year and the month, okay? So with this structure, what we are going to do is create 3 new variables that it will contain. On the one hand, first of all, it will extract the year. On the second hand, the month. And on the third position, the month and year, okay? So if we, for instance, have a look at this specific variable, for instance, if we have a look at the year added, I'm going to show you, and we see that we have 2020, 2020, 2020, and 2020. If we compare this first song with the information that we got from the whole date, can you see that in fact it's 2020, okay? What if we are like repeating the same procedure, but in that case, like month added, we can see that it's 5, 2, 4. So if we are comparing those results, we can see that it's 5, 2, 4. Okay, so we've managed to extract that information automatically without like counting or without getting crazy or like doing something weird. Okay, so if we double check the shape of the data frame, right now we've added 3 new variables. Okay, so if we like executing again the same statement that we saw before, we can see that, can you see that we have like 3 more features? So variables. In the previous case, we had 20, so we added 3 more. So this is like what we are getting. Okay. The point is that, okay, I've managed to create these new variables and so on, but if you want to see, let's say, how much content has been like added in function of the year, month, or something like that, what we have to do is like create some plot, no? So one of the most important plots that one can like that in data science are used as are called scatter plots. I don't know if any of you is familiar with scatter plots. Any of you is familiar with scatter plots? Nobody is familiar with scatter plots. This is one example of a scatter plot. Okay, this is not the example. This is something that I took from Google. So basically, in scatter plot, what we are doing is like plotting like two variables together. So in that case, what I'm doing is plotting unit sold versus revenue. And basically, what I'm doing is like first, it is each of the dots or each of the markers that I have is it contains information of like specific samples, no, or specific rows. So in that case, what I'm doing is like for this specific sample or this specific family, in that case, that means that it has like a value in unit sold that it's around 5, and in terms of like million and revenue in millions, it's 2 point something. So basically, it allows us to see how like two variables like look like together. Okay, so in that case, what can we see? That when we increase the unit sold, well, it increases also the revenue in terms of millions. Can you see that there is a linear increase in that case? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what like scatter plot does. Okay, so we are going to repeat.
Idoia?
Yes.
Sorry, maybe it's an old question. It's my fault, but we have a question regarding
yes.
How you because we have a question from Jessica that says, how do you extract from Spotify? That is another thing more difficult, really. I think we will be passing this, as I said, I will be sending this notebook and data set by mail. And then for the other to extract data from web is another thing. You have to investigate more or take our courses.
Yes, there is.
It's not so easy.
There is an API. There is an API.
Yeah.
One thing that it's called API if you are interested. So there is one thing that it's called API from Spotify, and well, basically, if you want, I can like send you that information. But or if you need some more info, and basically what you are doing is like connecting to the database that Spotify has, and well, get that information from it.
Yeah, okay. Spotify is very generous about that.
Yes. Okay. It's how is it called? It's generous, but also it tracks you. So for commercial purposes and so on, no.
No. Okay. The other question that I have is, how is the duration of the song represented in seconds? That is
milliseconds.
Yeah.
Milliseconds.
Okay.
See? This is how they have the information stored. I mean, you can change it into seconds or minutes or whatever just by doing a transformation.
This is a challenge also, know the data to understand if sometimes you get the data, you don't know if it's millisecond or hours or whatever. Yes. But as you know, that is a song, the logical part takes a big part of. So, sorry, that is a question that I have pending. Sorry. I interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I prefer to have some questions, otherwise it will be just me talking, you know.
And breathe. Okay.
Okay, cool. So this is what we're going to do, create this scatter plot, but in our case, what we're going to do is put in this horizontal axis or x-axis, each of the month, year, and in our vertical axis, the total number of songs that were released in this month, year. Okay. So to do so, first of all, we need to like create and calculate these counts. So I'm going to create a new variable that is called month year, and I'm going to like calculate how many songs were released, let's say, for each of the different month / year. Okay, so if I'm having a look at this new variable that I've created, this is the outcome that I'm getting. So I'm getting that on 2019-10, just one song was released. This is the second month, year, 3, and so on. So we can see like the information like in that specific format, and you can see that briefly. No, those were on May and June from 2020 were the dates in which more songs were released. But we can see that also there are some of them that were late on the 2019, right? So we can have a look. Yes.
Next month will be a good. Good month but with COVID we don't know, but yes, I think it's the heat of the summer, no? They are preparing the heat of the summer.
Yes, could be. So we can see the information in that table, or we can transform this information into a scatter plot. So to do so, I'm going to use that piece of code, and this is the outcome that I'm getting. 1 second, it's taking some time. This is the outcome that I'm getting. The same info, but shown in a different way. So basically, this is one beautiful plot that it's like pretty cool, one library that it allows you to create interactive plots. So if I'm moving the mouse, can you see that, for instance, in that specific case, what I'm getting is some extra info. So I'm getting the month and also the total number of songs that it was released. So we can see that we have some of them that are like that were released on the previous year, and most of them were released on May and June. Okay. The point is that, okay, let's have a look at those, no? Because it's kind of weird because, I don't know, we were in the middle of the pandemics, no? So I don't know if it makes so much sense not to have that amount of songs, maybe to cheer up people, or maybe some songs that were like previously produced, because it's kind of the results that I got out of these data set were kind of like weird. So what I did is like have a look at, dive a little bit on those that were like released on May 2020, and have a look at the different like name, album, artist, and country, just to see, well, these songs, well, those are like the songs that were released on that specific period of time. Okay, so May 2020, and well, most of them are coming from Italy, some of them from Albania, Australia, and the States, and so on. So I'm going to ask you if, well, you have any clue or you have any answer to this specific pick that we saw. I don't know, because all of them are Italian, so I don't know exactly. I was thinking that maybe...
Cuando is very old. It's a new version.
Yes, it's very old. It's a classic.
From Alberto Urso.
I think there is a new version and come hit.
Yeah, probably is a new version.
Probably, no?
I'm not probably.
Yeah, exactly. I know even the Black Eyed Peas version. I like it.
Exactly.
Yes, I don't know. That's what I got out of the.
Yeah, but also the 16. Ma il cielo è sempre più blu. It's an old a classic song. So yeah, Francesca Cervi said that it is a new version. The original is by Tony Renis. Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you.
A lot of cover is happening. So everything is inventing, and we need to. That is another data that we can.
Yeah, but I saw Fedez that is very, very modern. So
maybe it's because of the pandemics, they were not able to produce new songs, and they were doing some kind of covers or something. I don't know.
Sophia is saying that cuando it's a different song.
It's a different song.
Vale,
so
vale.
we have.
Thank you.
I will hear it today. I will put in YouTube cuando, and I hope I have the new one.
So this is what we are getting. So we are getting that info. Okay, even some of them are coming from Russia, blah blah blah, and so on. Okay. So the point is that let's have a look maybe at the ones that were released on 2019, no? Because they are a little bit like far, no, from 2020, which is like the ones that we were like analyzing. So to do so, that's what I'm doing, subsetting and getting the ones that were like added on 2019, and those are like released, let's say.
Talking about Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas, Karol G, Tiziano Ferro. Tiziano Ferro, I know that guy, but I don't know if I only know the old ones, let's say, and all of them. Okay, so those are like the outcome that we're getting. We can get the outcome as a table, let's say, as it is, or we can create a plot. In that case, I'm going to show you a different plot. So rather than, as we are dealing with, can you see that we are dealing with categories? So we are dealing with text. We cannot create this plot because this plot, the scatter plot, is linked to numbers, okay? So we cannot like associate these things with this plot, but we can create another type of plots that are called bar plots. So bar plots normally look like this. So basically what you have is like different categories. In that case, what we are seeing is different levels of education. So we have bachelor's, less than bachelor's, master degrees, PhD, and professional. And basically what we are doing is, well, we are creating these bars in function of another variable. In that case, is mean salary in US dollars. So the higher the bar, the higher the salary it is. And also, as an extra, we are giving also an extra clue, which is man and woman. So we are like having a look at how these salaries look like in function of like the different education degrees, and also in, splitting them by men and women. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here with this information that we have.
Very curious that the professional, when they are doing the thing alone, when they put their own salary by themselves, they can gain more than men. No, when they say my rate is.
I don't know what I took that info, but yeah. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to rearrange the information to get that outcome. So the different, from the different years, how many songs do I have? And then what we are going to do is create this beautiful plot in which basically what we are going to see is, well, first of all, each of the different, let me zoom out. So we're going to create this bar plot, which basically what it contains, let me execute it. It will contain, well, displaying in blue the ones that were added on 2019 and on red the songs that were added on 2020, okay? And also, can you see that if in that specific case, in that specific case, if I'm moving the mouse all over the different songs, can you see that we have information not only on the year in which was added, also the name of the song and also the artist. We see that in that case the name is Mediterranea and the artist is Irama. We have another one, so that means that with these interactive plots we can add a lot of information. Okay, the point is that we can also subset and just show the results that we want to show in function of the legend. But what is more important in this type of plots is, well, the colors. In that case, what we use is the colors that came by default, that are blue and red. And having a look, and depending on the information that you want to show or you want to, let's say, explain or to show, well, which is the first thing that comes to your eyes, or which is the color that really captures your attention in that plot? The red. Blue one or the red? The red, right?
You can answer by writing, but yeah. The red one, yes. It's there is a minimum that comes from other year.
What you have to do is try to customize these plots and try
I cannot hear anymore, and I think that the problem is.
You see, yes, it's from Idoia. Sorry about this. I was thinking that it was me. I was checking all my
Yeah,
things.
me too. Because anyone nothing, so I.
And I was saying, oh my gosh, what I will do. I was trying to make some noise in my
I can see her screen, but.
1 second, Another thing that I want to mention, because some I can do some in the TV, what something, but the thing is sometimes it's not you need to know all the coding, I was an ex data science student. So sometimes you will see a lot of information in the web, how to do a graphic of blah, 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 and you will find the code. If you have some coding experience in other things like Visual Basic, even macros in Excel, etc., you know that sometimes you will see a lot of, we can see your you are hitting us, Idoia. We can see your screen, but no we can hear
it's
you.
better if she try again.
Yeah. So what I am saying is a lot of time you will be learning, if you take a course, our course or even other courses, don't care about that. It's more like you will be learning a lot, but also you will be learning where you can find code, where you can find good graphic. There is a lot of internet that you copy. You have to understand the data, the structure of the data, the variables, the thing. But a lot of the coding is more copy paste. If you can write by yourself, you are a genius. It's perfect. But also you will be copied a lot. In my case, I don't know, I don't remember how se dice vaga in English.
Lazy.
I am lazy. In general, I look for how to do a graphic with this color and give me the nana, and then I change variables, things that I want, etc. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't know what happened because I was able to see you and like.
Yeah,
no sé.
Me too. We can see the screen, but we can't hear you. So.
Vale, sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, go ahead.
No, just one question because Sophia asked if we will send the registration. We will send it.
The registration, what
the data set and all that?
No, yes, of the webinar. This webinar.
The recording will be here all the time. So if you go for this, you put the same link that you used to come here. It will be the recording available to see. So it will be good to, as I mentioned, it will be good that when you receive the data set, the one that really want to try to, let's see if I can do some Python thing. So they can put the recording and they can use the data set and they can practice, in the same time. It's good.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. So Idoia.
Okay, yes. So no, it's fine. It's fine. So did you see, how different it looks like in function of the colors that you are using? So in that case, you are highlighting something, but in that case, you are forcing even more, people to look at specifically these dates. So that's one thing that it's super important and that you have to consider and take into account whenever you want to show the results. Okay. So let's continue asking some more questions, let's say, into our data set. So what about the gender? We have another variable that it's called gender. Let's have a look at the gender of the different artists that we have. Okay, so to do so, what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the total number of songs that we have for the genders that we have. So it will be male, female, and mixed, so groups. And that's the outcome that what we are getting. We are getting we are creating this new variable, and we are getting this small outcome which contains male, female, and mixed, and the total number of songs that we have for each of the genders. So we have 49 songs that are synced or that were synced by men, 22 for women, and just 3 that contain mixed. Okay, so this is one outcome that we are getting out of the code, but we can also create another beautiful plot that in that case, rather than be a bar chart, it will be a pie chart. So I'm going to show you how it looks like, a pie chart. So basically in a pie chart, what you have is, one circle, and basically what you are doing is dividing the total area that you have in one circle in function of something. In that case, what we are doing is dividing everything in function of the percentage of the 3 gender types that we have. So rather than having a specific number, which is 49, 22, or 3, what we are getting is a percentage, something that is more feasible, to understand or to read. So if I'm telling you that 66% of the songs that we have in this data set are synced by male, it's more, you know what I mean? It makes more sense, rather if I'm telling you 49. So in that case, that's the outcome that we're getting. 62 are synced by men, only 29 by women, and just a small representation of a 4% are synced by mixed, so male and female groups, let's say. So let's continue asking more questions, let's say. Which are the top continents and countries that we have in this top 22 list? So we can create different things. So on the one hand, what I'm going to do is rearrange everything in order to get also a new variable that it will contain also each of the different continents together with the total number of songs that it has. And I'm going to create again one bar chart. So the same information that we had there, but in that case, what I'm going to do is like split everything in function or get as variables, well, each of the different continents. So I have Europe, North America, South America, Asia, Oceania, and Africa, and I have like different bars in function of the total number of songs that I have. So having a look at this plot, we can see that most of them are coming from Europe. So I have like 50 songs from this database that are coming from Europe, followed by 14 in North America, South America. So this should be like the States or Canada. South America, it will be like Latin America, Asia, Oceania, and Africa. So that's one thing that it was like really surprising me a lot. So coming from Oceania and Africa, it's kind of like weird, no? Because I believe we are all kind of like familiar with European songs or in North America or South America, not, but Oceania and Africa. So that's what I did is decide to like dive a little bit and have a look at those songs. So first of all, what I'm going to show you is the artist that comes from Africa, which is that one. I don't know if any of you is familiar. So Master KG, and the name of the song is Jerusalema. I don't know if some of you is familiar with that song. Just a quick survey.
No, we can put in the end of the masterclass song.
Yes, no? Laura knows, ¿vale? Basically, it's Africa. Last summer, it was the most, vale, Jerusalem, the most, I didn't know, sorry. Basically, it comes from South Africa, okay? Another one, let's have a look at the Oceania, no? Because Oceania is quite big. So we have like also that one, Sia, Together, and also Joe's 625 that are coming from Australia and New Zealand. Are you familiar also with those songs and artists, Together and Savage Love? Yes, no? So, vale, cool. That means that, because I was not familiar, sorry. So I don't know if it was because my tastes or because it was from Italy, okay? There is a dedicated lens, yes, it was very popular, okay? Nice. Okay, so another thing that we can do is dive a little bit more and create like different plots. So there are some kind of plots that are called tree maps. And basically what we are going to do is have a look at the continent versus the artist. So in tree maps, what we are getting is like this information. So we are getting these boxes in which basically everything is split. Can you see that in function of the continent? So we have Europe, North America, South America, Asia, Oceania, and Africa. And we are getting is inside, we are getting small boxes in which each of the boxes contains each of the artists that are like based or like that were born in Europe, and also the size of, can you see that the size of these boxes is kind of like, in that case, is higher than, for instance, in that case, because that's linked to the size. So, for instance, the total number of songs. Gaia, in this specific data set, it had like 2 songs compared to Emma. Emma, for instance, it has just 1 song. So that's one pretty cool thing that we can also do with that information, not only bar and bytes and so on. We can also create these tree maps and get that information. We can also include the country, so not only the continent, so we can also include the country. And in that case, what we are getting, we are getting a different subdivision. So not only Europe, then we have Italy on the first position. So most of the artists are coming from Italy, followed by like Norway, Albania, France, Netherlands, and so on. So we are including like an extra layer, let's say. Okay. What else? What else we can do? Yes.
We have a question. No,
Yes.
sorry, it was a mistake. Okay, no problem.
Vale. Yes, vale. And we can also, another capability that Python has is that we can also create maps, okay? So we have the country and the continent, so we can create maps. So we are going to like transform that information that we have here in the tree maps, but in a worldwide map, okay? So to do so, what I'm going to do is, first of all, calculate the different songs that I have for each of the countries. So can you see that as an outcome, what I'm getting is Italy, 42, the States, 10, and so on. And I'm going to use that information in order to create my map, okay? How can I achieve that goal? By using one specific library, but as an outcome, what I'm getting is that information. So I'm getting, can you see that this is like a worldwide map? And what I'm getting is a color bar. Can you see that I have like a color bar that it ranges from blue or purple up to like yellow? So that means that, well, what I'm doing is assigning to each of the different countries that I have, well, I'm assigning a color in function of the total number of songs that it has. So can you see that Italy is in yellow because it has like 42 songs? We see that, well, it's in yellow because of that. On a second position, we have the States, but can you see that, well, in most of the countries, everything is kind of homogeneous. You know what I mean? In terms of colors, we have like that everything is kind of on that range. Why? Because the difference between the total number of songs that Italy has and the rest of the countries has is quite big. So that means that it's kind of disrupting, let's say, the visualization, no? Because it's super, super huge, the gap. Because
I will send some Argentinian music later. I want to be in the map.
Argentina is not even about that. So if you want to see the information like excluding Italy because it's super far from the rest, we can like create again this plot, but like excluding Italy in order to see if everything looks in a different way. And can you see that in that case we have the States followed by Colombia on the second position. We have also Norway on the third position, and well, the rest are in blue because they have just one song. Okay, so that's another like thing that you can like get out of Python. You can create also plots, you know, maps, let's say. Okay, if you have the country name or the ISO code that it's linked to the country, etc. Okay. Any questions so far? No. So we can.
No, let me check. No, we don't.
So this is part of the storytelling. We can continue, and you can spend like hours or days or years just analyzing the data and creating beautiful plots. This was just a small taste, no, or a small degustation. What I'm going to show you is like one next step, which is what I'm going to show you is how we can create, let's say, one small machine learning model. So one small. Yes, they're all created with Python, yes. Yes. So I'm going to create a small mathematical model in order to try to like build some kind of recommender system. So what I'm going to show you is like, okay, with the information, I don't know if you've seen that whenever you open like Spotify, can you see that sometimes you have like some tabs or some information that is like discover Weebly or because you like, I don't know, Maluma, you might like blah, blah, blah. See? Have you seen this information?
Electra Lamborghini, no, it's not.
Electra Lamborghini. So every time...
Oh, no, I don't know. I can.
Every time that you are opening Spotify and it's suggesting you that information, well, that outcome or that new song that is suggesting you, it comes from the outcome or the output of a machine learning model, okay? So basically what it's giving you is songs that share some similarities to the ones that you are really like loving or you are really listening a lot, etc. Okay, so we're going to try to mimic this thing that Spotify does by building this small machine learning model, of course, in a more really small way because, well, I'm not working by Spotify, and Spotify has a team of millions of people working, but it will be like a small degustation of the things that you can do and
also mentioning why it's important that women are more like this, because now only suggesting song. In the future they will suggesting I don't know what. A lot of things. Even restrict something.
So basically in this small machine learning model, that a mathematical model that I'm going to build is like, okay, we will have, imagine that these are like all the different songs that I have, all the different markers are the songs. So basically what we are going to do is like try to create some small clusters or some small groups in which basically what we're going to do is group the songs that they share some similarities. So we're going to create this group and this group and this group, and well, all of them will share similarities in terms of like tempo, liveness, acousticness, etc. Okay? So this is to do so. What I did is to create some models, so forget about this. And basically, I was using to build the model acousticness, danceability, energy, key, all these variables that are linked to each of the songs. Okay, so this is the model.
To interrupt you, because I have been in the other side saying, what is doing? No, this is like when you know the code, you copy, you understand the future, as Idoia mentioned, no? Like saying what is the thing that I care to really understand my data? What are the most important feature that I have to put there to understand that it's important to make cluster groups?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
No, well, this is another field that it's called feature engineering. So it's part of the data science process that it's like, okay, in that case, we have like 20 variables. But the first thing is like, okay, do we need all variables to like build the model? Because some of them maybe are not really useless. You know what I mean? So they are not containing really valuable information. So there is also one pre-step that I'm not going to show you here that it's called feature engineering, that it's like linked to like get the ones that in fact are really representative and they contain valuable information, because it doesn't make any sense to like include a lot of variables if they are not adding any kind of meaning, no, to each of the songs. So, but basically here it's already done. I already did it. So I was using instrumental-less, leafness, and so on. Okay. Yes.
I don't know why we are not seeing the notebook.
No, because well, I'm seeing you.
Sorry.
Okay. So basically, what I'm going to do is like in order to get that information, I'm going to pick randomly one song that it will be song number 5, just randomly. And basically what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to show you which is the song that it belongs to this index, which is, mira, Mediterránea Irama. Okay, so we are going to see, or we are going to like use that song in order to get the 3 similar ones. So this mathematical model is going to suggest us the 3 songs that are like more similar to that one, the one that is from Irama, Mediterranean. Okay, so what I need to do is execute that piece of code, and as an outcome, this is what we are getting. So after getting the outcome of the model, it's showing us that the 3 similar songs are Dorado from Mahmoud, Morositas from Federica Carta, and Girlfriend from Charlie Puth. I don't know. I don't know any of these songs.
But
what do you think?
I don't know, Silvia, if you know it,
no,
they are similar.
Only Mahmoud. I know only Mahmoud. The other 2, no, but we have...
What about the audience?
The audience, no,
the audience,
understand if there is some similarity between the song, or because the model can fake,
Yes,
that is why we need to be also understanding that.
I don't remember the Irama songs, to be honest.
No problem.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. Camila said it makes sense. Okay. It's
maybe
amazing.
we can use that one, the Savage Love. You know what I mean? The Savage Love. You know, but because it was very popular, no? Deborah and also Francesca told us that. Yeah. So maybe we can use that one rather than this Irama.
Irene say that she's surprised by Charlie Puth, actually. She don't think that, Charlie. But you know, I don't know the
Charlie what?
Something. The Charlie Puth song. There is a
no
Charlie
sé.
Puth, no?
So I'm going to like try to do it with this Savage song. So just to see, because maybe it's more familiar for more people, let's say. So I'm going to have a look at this Savage one, Savage Love.
I don't know. I don't know.
It was Savage Love, yes. So
that
51.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that one. Let's see if it makes more sense, because it was very popular according to some of the attendees. So are like Sono un bravo ragazzo, blah, 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 super clásico, and Vienimi. No sé. I have no idea.
That is why it's so important that you know what you know. When I say that you can mix your own industry, because when you do a machine learning model, you will be trying and see it, and if it's because you will be having a lot of different algorithms to use that other created, etc. And you will see, okay, this is because maybe you're predicting the money that a bank will gain, whatever, no? That is a big responsibility.
Absolutely.
So you work on that, you see the result, you test it, and then also know the data and see the logic is very important, no?
Yes, and also, well, just consider that, well, this is a really small machine, so I didn't optimize it. So it was just a simple example. Without getting into so much details and so on, because, well, it's not the purpose.
No, but I think it's very, very good.
I don't know.
I will check tonight.
Okay, and that's basically most of the things that, well, some of the things that you can do, let's say. some of the things that you can do, let's say. Of course, you can improve everything and so on. It was, and well, and that's all, basically. I don't know if you have any further questions and so on.
Any question?
Yeah, if you have any questions for Idoia.
A ver. Can be in Italian,
Italian,
Spanish,
sí, or
Yeah.
Spanish.
English,
Of
German,
course.
no. For example, I'm not able to. Some filter, have some filter. No. Bueno, seeing that we don't have any question, the only thing I want to share with you, in case you want to know more about our course, so the Spotify system work in that way.
Yes, but more sophisticated, because I mean it's feeding and it's also like including information like coming from your like hits and so on. Because if I'm listening to some songs, I'm giving that information to the Spotify people, so they are like using that information that I'm using in order to refit the model and so on. So it's more complex, let's say. Yeah, but yes, the essence is that one. Also Netflix, Amazon, what else? Gmail.
Yeah. So yeah, well, social security, there is thing that when you start to understand what all the algorithms, sorry to be repetitive, but it's so important that all of us try to understand the impact of this, because this is like a shock, and yes, it's song, but really social security in US can say you are the next one or not, depending on how much money you spend in the past or things like this. And so it's very important that the ethic on that, no, and make the algorithms and auditing the algorithms, etc., and understand, because it's not like something that is not impacting day-to-day life today, and in the future I think it will be bigger. What kind of ML algorithm did you use?
So I was using, well, inside machine learning, there are two main tasks, let's say, so supervised and unsupervised. So I was using one family of the unsupervised that it's called KNN. So K nearest neighbors. So if you're interested, I can give you KNN. Deals with distances, let's say.
So I have a question from I don't have the name, but really interested. I want to ask, what would you suggest to a person who have not technical background, degree in human resource psychology, but who would like to learn and train to get to work in this area? We have a student from different background, linguistic, translator. Nowadays, the word, how to do a chatbot, how to understand what people are saying in the net, like Twitter, etc. Now the linguistics, the translator, really we said that in every area, data will impact, this type of knowledge will impact. So it's not important from, really there is a lot of med tech today, people that understand if you have a cancer because of artificial intelligence. So the same for psychology. You can be, you if you don't like more, you don't want to be involved in psychology, okay, but if you want to stay there, but mix it with data. Yes, people mix data with astrology, even with the thing that you think, no, it's spiritual, whatever. It's data behind. That is why someone said something, in the scientific method. So we don't ask any in our course, in general. I don't know the other, but in our cases, as we want more women here, we don't ask any background. We only ask assessment that is analytical, so you know that you will be treating with data. And later, your, for example, final project will be about something that you like. For example, if you want to do about psychology, other did about planes, because one of our students work in an airline. So you can choose whatever you want for your career to do the final project that will be your portfolio. Not only you have to be very enthusiastic and have patience and be there for learning a new thing, but you don't need a background. Which method do you use? Está random, Enya, Aelo. All these artists refer to a very young target. I think it's due to TikTok trends.
Pues could be.
Can be.
Could be, no sé.
I don't know. And we don't have more questions, no. The only thing that if you want to know more about our school or want to know even to do no compromise at all, a career coaching session with me to talk about your background and say, I don't know, I like data, but I like UX also, etc. Feel free to set up a call. I will leave my agenda here. Feel free to set up a call with me. No compromise at all, for sure. And I think we can be in touch with GTech. You are doing a super good job. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to have more women aware about data science,
Yes.
Thank you. Grazie a tutti quelli che hanno partecipato, and thank you, Ines, Idoia, for this opportunity. I think it was very interesting, and we had a lot of participants, so I think the topic is really interesting, and I agree with you, Ines, that data impact in all sectors. So gracias, as Laura said.
Yeah. And yeah, sorry, go.
No. Keep in touch, and
Absolutely.
I hope that we can organize other things like this lesson.
Yeah, I really appreciate your effort and your work to create this event. We create together this event, and now having, because Italy is now a hub in innovation, Milan, so we can do more things in the future, and I want to be there when COVID finish.
Let's go there, Inés.
Let's dream about it. Let's dream about
please.
it. Okay, we will send all the information by mail so you can practice by your own later. And thank you so much, and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you, Idoia, for all your knowledge.
Yes.
Thank you, Idoia.
My pleasure.